You are watching the Whovians podcast. You sensible people. Isn't it fun?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Whovians. And today we're going to be discussing a great Patrick Troughton episode or story called The Enemy of the World. All right, and today I have some great fellows with me. It's all fellows today. I have the great beef dad, Jeffrey, here with us. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. I have the great Texas Tim Wells from Texas. Good guy. How you doing, Texas Tim?
Fine. How are you guys doing today?
Groovy. Lee Wilson is here with us today. How you doing, Lee?
Good evening, viewers.
All righty. We got Kevin with us here today, man. How you doing, Kevin?
Hello.
All right.
I'm fine.
Cool, man. Good to hear. We have Brian Roan with us here today. How you doing, young man?
Hello, everybody. I'm good. What's up? Peace.
All right. Peace, man. Love the green shirt. Gotta love Luigi. All righty. We have the great Jimmy Porto here with us today, who also edits all our wonderful videos. How you doing, man?
Hello.
And last but not least, our good buddy Harry, who has every single Doctor Who book you could possibly think of, man, and he's still collecting them. How you doing, man?
Doing well. Ready to rock and roll, ready to discuss a great Troughton story.
All right, man. Let us know, man. Tell us that synopsis.
All right. The year only one man seems to know what actions to take when the world is hit by a series of terrible natural disasters. Salamander's success in handling these monumental problems has brought him enormous power. From the moment the Doctor, Jamie, and Victoria land on an Australian beach, they are caught up in a struggle for world domination, a struggle in which the Doctor's startling resemblance to Salamander plays a vital role.
All righty. Thank you, sir, man. Awesome. I love the ads of books, and we will be learning some more about the books towards the end of this episode, so stay tuned for that. All right, we're going to move on downtown to Texas. Tim, man, I'm sure he enjoyed this one, but tell us, man, what are some of the parts you like about this story?
Well, in context of season 5, which this is in the middle of, which is pretty much known as the monster season, this one is atypical compared to all the other stories surrounding it. Most of those are the same kind of base under siege where the TARDIS arrives. There's an alien invasion going on. So this is a lot different. It's in the context of when it was released finally in 2013, it's a big surprise to everybody. It was paired with its neighbor, The Web of Fear, and I think this is actually the more outstanding of the two that we got back at that time, because it really is different. I mean, you got the Patrick Troughton playing two parts, which is really cool. They're very different. He shows his range as an actor there. Like Matt said, they finally give something useful for Victoria to do. She's not as clingy or whiny in this one, but that was how she was written. It's not the actress's fault. Yeah, it's just it doesn't really feel too long at 6 episodes. I think it's pretty well structured. It's a lot of fun. You get to see when they first arrive, the Doctor's so delighted just to be on the beach. So he strips down and goes out for a swim. Why not? You know, that's the kind of thing this Doctor would do. So as far as the rating goes, I would give it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. All right, thanks, buddy. All right, let's move on down to Beef Dad, man. What did you think of this story, my man?
I got lots on this story. Yes, I love the story. Yeah, Troughton was absolutely magnificent, particularly, I thought, when he was playing the baddie. But, I mean, there's a few people that stood out. Mary Peach playing Astrid. This is basically their first contact when they arrived in Australasia, in the Australasia zone. A wonderful actress, did a lot in the 60s, was a real 60s face. Then, of course, you had George Pravda, who played Dennis. He played a baddie in Thunderball. He was in Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed. And he turned up as Castellan Spandrel in The Deadly Assassins in 1976. He was also in The Mutants in 1972. A grand old man of the theatre and television and films. Bill Kerr, yeah, died not so long ago. Was mostly known in England for playing Tony Hancock's straight man for a very long time on radio and then later on television. But he was excellent, especially in the twist at the end. I won't tell you what the twist is. I won't mention what the twist is because that will spoil it for anybody who wants to see this. And you really must see this. Then you had Carmen Munro as Faria, the food taster. She became very famous in England, playing Shirley, Desmond's wife in Desmond's, which was a situation comedy. Deborah Watling, yeah, brilliant. This episode, in this story, absolutely super. Reminded me very much of her sister in this story. Her sister Phyllis was a little older and a little tougher, shall we say. Then you had Bennick, played by Milton Johns, who was the sort of creepy, and he really was creepy, and he played an awful lot of creepy parts, certainly on British television. Then in the underground, I shall say no more about that. You had Mary and Colin. Mary was played by Margaret Hickey. It was the only thing she ever actually did. Colin was played by Adam Verney. He went on, did a few bits and pieces, but nothing of any great note. But they were reasonably convincing as a couple of people that had been stranded under the underground for 5 years. And yet the moment where Mary Peach tells the doctor that she's going to meet Dennis under a disused jetty, and he mishears her. I says, disused jetty? Yeah, big laugh out loud from me. But yeah, all in all, an absolutely excellent story. And it gets an absolute solid gold, 10 out of 10 from me.
All right, 10 out of 10 from Beef Dad. Thank you, sir. All right, we'll move to another good buddy of ours here in the Whovian community, Mr. Wilson. All right, take it away, Mr. Wilson.
Right, Enemy of the World. This story, back in the day, used to get a bum rap because of the one existing episode, what they had at the time, which turns out was sort of the filler episode, which it did drag in that episode. So people judged it just on that until they found that remaining 5, what a brilliant story. I love it. It's political. As I say, no monster in the monster season, but for me, Salamander was the monster in this. And Troughton, what? It's the dual role. Just click of the fingers and it can just change like that. Brilliant. I thoroughly enjoyed it. What's his name? The security chief, Colin Douglas, I think his name was. He'd later returned to Doctor Who in Horror of Fang Rock as the lighthouse keeper. Yeah, it's very Bond-esque, Avenger type. You know, Astrid's quite like an Avenger girl. Yeah, to me, I can't knock this one. And it's going to be a 10 out of 10.
Say what?
All right, Lee. 10 out of 10, guys. You heard it here. All right, we're going to move on down to Jimmy Porto. What did you think of the story, man?
This episode... New tongue. Strange. This episode takes place in the year 2018, which is different than the novelization. It is a shame that this episode has been missing for so long. It wasn't recovered until 2013. The episode builds upon itself, so that part 2 builds upon from what happened in part 1, but improves on it. And then part 3 takes what happened in part 2 and improves on it. Each episode is better than the last. I can imagine what it was like when this first aired. You'd watch it, you talk about it, and you can't wait for next week's episode. And then you watch that, and you can't wait for what's going to happen again next week's episode and next week's episode. It's a terrific episode, a very good episode. It stands through time, even today, by today's standards. This is a terrific episode. And Patrick Troughton playing a dual role, according to his son's biography on him, it was at this time in this particular episode where the production was taking its cost on him, having to play the dual role and be on camera all the time. He found it particularly exhausting, and it was part of the reason he decided to step down from the role. But you can't tell watching it. He's terrific in this. You cannot tell he is exhausted or anything negative. It's a terrific role. As Salamander, Patrick Troughton is on screen more than he is as the Doctor. And when he is on screen as the Doctor, most of the time he's in disguise. So you have the main character hardly on the screen. It's very unusual for that period of time, and even now. The episode is full of espionage and may remind you of a James Bond. In fact, the scene of the helicopter blowing up came from the James Bond film From Russia with Love. A terrific episode. I recommend it to anyone, whether they're interested in New Who only or all of Doctor Who. If you haven't seen it, you should see this, and I would give it a 10.
All right, 10 from Mr. Jimmy Porto. Thank you, sir. All right, Kevin, what did you think of the story, man?
So, The Enemy of the World. So this was my first Patrick Troughton episode. I loved it, really. It keeps me interesting every episode, and every episode then because it becomes more exciting every episode for me. And yeah, the characters were very good. Actor also good. And yeah, the Doctor was good in this episode. And I was thinking when I first saw it, the cover art, I was thinking like, is that not Patrick Troughton playing two characters? And then, oh yeah, he's in disguise as Salamander and the character Salamander. Wow, it blew my mind. Two characters. Salamander was great. All your other characters were also great. So for me, it is a 10 out of 10 for this first Patrick Troughton episode for me.
Oh, great. 10 out of 10, guys. Freaking awesome, Kevin. All right. Brian, what did you think of this story?
I absolutely love the story. It's, to me, like one of the best Troughton episodes within his era on Doctor Who. The story was good, like with Patrick Troughton being Salamander. Troughton's portrayal as Salamander was just absolutely awesome. I loved him as Salamander. I would give this Patrick Troughton story 9 tortoises.
All right, man. 9. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, sir. All right. We're going to move on to Harry, and he's also going to tell us a little bit about the novel that he has also with him and compare them a bit for us. So let us know how you like the on-screen story and the book story, man.
The on-screen was very good. In many ways, it reminded me of the classic story, A Tale of Two Cities, where you've got two different people who look the same, but with different aspects, different personalities. You've got the Doctor, who we know is a wanderer. We got Salamander. Personally, I would have loved to have gotten more background on Salamander, find out a little bit more about him. I mean, we got some stuff, the fact that with his accent and everything, they were Spanish, Mexican, Guatemalan, but I still would have liked to gotten, if possible, a little bit more of his background. Troughton did a fantastic job. I felt that Victoria, for being her background and everything, Deborah Watley did a very good job with this story. I mean, it may not seem like she did much, but what she had, she carried very well. I would give the TV version an 8 out of 10 just simply because of the fact that I would have liked a little bit more background on Salamander. As far as the Ian Marter's novelization, Ian did a very good job. He really gave us a bit more detail. His ending is much different than what we saw on television. In the ending, you have the Doctor literally stretched over the TARDIS console, talking to it, while Salamander is trying to deal with everything that's going on. Eventually, the TARDIS doors open, and Salamander gets ejected into the time-space continuum, and the TARDIS calms down, the lights return to normal, and it's as if everything's back to normal and they're getting ready to go on to their next adventure. Here's the tip. The book is very good. If you haven't read it, I wholeheartedly suggest you do. It's an Ian Marter novelization. Ian did a very good job on this book. My rating, 8 out of 10 for the story. For the novelization, I would say a 9 out of 10.
All right, great, man. Yeah, it sounds like an interesting ending in the book version. Cool. Thank you for that, Harry. I guess, what I thought about the actual episode now, Texas Tim might remember this because we were, this was one of our 50th anniversary presents that we got during that time. And when that came out, I remember all of us checking it out. Now, some of us previously watched it, with the bits and pieces and the audio, which is, can be hard to do at times. But having this episode right there in our face for full viewing was such a treat, man. Such a freaking treat. I'll tell you this. 2 of my favorite parts, definitely the beginning on the beach, man. You can't beat that. You can't beat the Doctor just being so random. And, you got Jamie and Victoria just like looking at him, what the hell, man? He's running towards the ocean, man, ripping off his clothes, taking off his clothes and just, takes a dive in the ocean like that, man. Would love to see a little more of that in the newer series, just being so random and weird like that. That's so funny just to see him do that. And definitely, I want to point out the music in it was freaking cool because, I remember me and Tim were talking about it before. I forget exactly who composed some of the music there.
Bella Bartok. It's
okay.
Classical music from I don't know when, but
yeah, I remember me and you talking about that before because some of it was sounded familiar, like from The Shining and from like the original Psycho, you hear some of these tunes, man, which was pretty cool. Sandwiched in between the end, which you got Salamander finally kind of acting like he's the Doctor in the TARDIS, man, and the Doctor confronts him. I kind of wish with that was a little longer. That kind of seemed short. I kind of wish the fight sequence, but again, for its time, well done. You couldn't tell the split screen and the stand. It was very well done. Their little fight scene, and then you got Salamander getting sucked out of the TARDIS, man. Which are like, ooh, and I remember thinking, man, could he still be alive? I'm not sure if he's dead or alive, but wouldn't that be cool if he did pop up again and one of his sons played the character of Salamander, the newer Doctor had to face or something, Maybe it's mentioned in audio. I'm not 100%. But anyway, that's all sandwiched in between. You have some, political power trip going on with Salamander, wanting to pretty much take over the world and rule, and Patrick Troughton as the Salamander character was completely different from the Doctor. And he looked different in a way without like any real heavy makeup or anything. He looked different just from his facial expressions as the Salamander character. Maybe he ruffled up his eyebrows a bit and the hair was a little different, but it was so cool to see Patrick Troughton playing such an evil character. They didn't give any crap about anybody but himself. Such the opposite of the Doctor. Patrick Troughton did great. I would love, and like Dave said, this story could work even in the newer Who. same story. I would love to see something like this again. I would love to see a character like Salamander reappear, man. I still think maybe in my mind he's not dead. All in all, good story. I don't think it didn't feel long. I mean, I remember when, we watched it when they first released it. Yeah, and it kind of went smooth, man. It was cool. But then again, I mean, we watched it when it was kind of broken up, where it was a little, it was a little rough to do that at times for some of these, missing episodes. I thought it was a great story. I don't really find any fault in it. Again, like some of you guys were saying, well, Victoria was decent in it, man. She was cool. Jamie kicked ass in it, man. So you had some highlights from different characters. Even some of the, supporting cast were pretty good. There was some pretty good acting going on here, man. I really did enjoy the story. Just the tone of it, the music of it, everything, man. And Patrick Troughton he worked his ass off. Like Jimmy said, I guess his son, let us in on a little details of what Patrick Troughton was going through at that time. And I'm sure it wasn't an easy feat to, play two different characters, but you wouldn't tell he was having a hard time. He did such an excellent job. It's so well done. I'm glad that we got this story, and I really hope there's more to come. I really, really do, because it's awesome to go back and look how it was kind of on the shit list of Doctor Who until it got re-released and people got to really see it for what it was, and it kind of put it up, closer to like, a great episode, and we're missing that a lot with a lot of the missing episodes, because it's not easy for everybody just to, watch the audio or, listen to the audio version completely. Love the episode. I can't give it anything less than a 10. I really don't find any fault in it at all. Now, I don't know. I don't remember, Tim. Did Salamander return in an audio adventure or anything like that?
I'm not sure. I think Lee would know that more than I would.
He's dead and buried, I'm afraid, Mike.
Yeah. But what a cool thing, like, like one of his sons is going to, what I mean? Be like, hey, it's Salamander. Oh, shit. Like, where'd you come from, It was cool. He played such an evil character from playing one of the nicer doctors, lighthearted, goofy, to play completely evil, like, again, I can't really find any fault in this. I thought it was awesome. Don't know if any of you guys maybe have some more tidbits.
Salamander convinced a group of people that a nuclear holocaust had happened and that they had to live underground, and the only time to come to the surface was to get supplies. So he was a genius when it comes to that. Another thing I like is in the beginning when the Doctor is frolicking in the beach. We have to remember that Troughton is the first regeneration. It is like the Doctor got a second chance at life, and he's enjoying every bit of life as best as he can.
By that beach, nowhere did it look like Australia. It looked rather cold.
I have to say the similarities, I guess, between Salamander and the Doctor. Salamander was a genius. He was an inventor. He got to that power from just being such a mastermind, evil.
That would later run the show for John Pertwee, and it's very good direction on his part.
Exactly.
The Lee mentioned episode 3 being the only one we had for years, and it really doesn't give you a representation of what the show is. It's like a comedy episode in the middle. And it's actually very good in the middle. Whereas before, when this was your only representation of what the story was about, then you just kind of felt like, what is this all about? But yeah, it all flows very well now. Yeah, having the whole thing.
It does. Well, it
and the other thing you have to remember about the almost sort of throwaway use of a hovercraft, which was very, very new at that time. It was very new at that time. And to actually use a hovercraft in the Doctor Who episode was quite a coup.
Since you said Barry Letts did this one, I can actually see this story fitting into the Pertwee era. That would just fit straight in with Pertwee doing the Salamander and stuff like that. Now you said it's got Barry Letts all over it.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. Well, there you have it, guys. Seemed like everybody pretty much enjoyed this, this story. I mean, again, thankfully, it was found, restored, and hopefully, we always hope, us guys here, that love Doctor Who. We always hope, they have another missing episode or two, man, on standby that they're going to release on us eventually down the road, hopefully soon, because that was a good year. The 50th anniversary year was good. And you just don't count that 50th anniversary special. I mean, like me and Mr. Tim Wells, my buddy there, we talked about that before. You got a lot for the 50th anniversary. I'm glad everybody did like this episode. Definitely check it out if you guys haven't seen it. You get a nice look at Patrick Troughton's portrayal as the Doctor, and a really cool story, and as a villain, man. So check it out, guys. The truth is out there. Keep on hooing.